Amanda, thanks again for sitting down with me. I know we've already done like a true and false for frequently asked questions or statements that we often get from pregnant women. I wanted to also do one for fathers. We don't hear from fathers a lot, or when we do, they're often saying that there's not a lot of information for them. So sitting down with you today, I just wanted to go over some of the common statements we hear from expecting fathers and a true or false so you can kind of dispel any myths that might come with it. Well, the first statement I have: she wants to do adoption, but I don't. I want to parent, but there's nothing I can do. True or false? And if you're at home watching this, feel free to comment below. We'd love to see what your thoughts are. Amanda, what's the answer?
The answer is false. That is one of the biggest misconceptions in the adoption world, is that whatever the woman wants, the man has to follow along with. And it's actually the complete opposite. Both women and men have rights to their child. And part of our counseling as an adoption agency is to make sure we have properly notified any and all possible fathers and talk through all of their options in terms of parenting this child, placing this child for adoption, and really talking through with them what they feel is right for them and this child.
The adoption agency will only meet with the child's mother and not me. True or false?
False. We have no problem counseling and meeting with birth fathers. Again, birth fathers are just as important to the equation as birth mothers are. And even if you're feeling as a father that you don't want to meet with the birth mom, maybe you're not in the best of places with her, we can most certainly connect with you, talk with you over the phone, and meet with you at a separate time and location if you'd rather go through the processing without her.
I can help choose the family for my child. True or false?
True. Again, there's so many options in terms of open adoption, and that is true for birth father. So if birth father wants to participate in the open adoption, wants to take part in looking at profiles of prospective families, his opinion is just as important in deciding who the family will be for that child.
Adoptive families only want contact with the child's birth mother. True or false?
False. I think when adoptive parents are well educated on the benefits of openness, that is true not just for the birth mother side, but also for the birth father side. There's an importance to a child knowing their birth story, and that's inclusive of birth father and birth father's family members. Because again, a child may grow up having questions, curious about their heritage, and they'll want to know their birth father side of things as well. So no, it's not just birth mother, it's also birth father.
The child's birth mother doesn't want an open adoption, but I can still see my child and get updates. True or false?
True. We have that happen all the time. A birth mother and a birth father can be on two separate pages of what type of openness they want. And we most certainly can provide the option to both. So a birth mom can say, I don't want to have any openness at all. And a birth father can say, yeah, I would like to receive pictures and letters or have a yearly visit. That is totally fine. We always request that the adoptive family send two separate sets of pictures and letters so that we can most certainly accommodate for each side.
So if a birth mother just wants letters but doesn't want any contact, but we have an involved birth father who wants to have 2 visits a year, that's not dependent on the birth mother's wishes. He has that right and ability to.
That is correct.
So again, these are questions from fathers who are considering adoption. These are some of the frequently asked questions we get. I get to choose how involved I get to be in the adoption process. True or false?
It's true. Whenever I am speaking to an expecting father or birth father for the first time, we always talk about what they want this to look like. So you have options, you have rights, and you get to decide what you want to do.
So the range could be, I'm okay with adoption, but I really don't want any involvement in choosing a family or anything like that, or getting updates. The whole way to, I know that we have birth fathers who are having visits and updates and staying in touch with the child.
Yep, there's definitely a variety of what you can want. The other cool thing is you can change your mind too. So maybe initially you say to me, nope, I don't want any contact. I don't want to participate in any of this. You can call years later and say, you know what? I am ready now. I'd like to receive some picture updates and know how my child's doing. That's the great thing about our agency, is the door is always there for whenever you're ready to walk through.
I can change my mind after I sign the paperwork and the baby goes home with the adoptive family.
True. Every state, there's a certain time period that a birth father has to change their mind about the adoption plan. So even once the baby goes home, depending on your state's law, and your counselor or social worker will talk through with you exactly how long you have. But a majority of the time, even once baby leaves the hospital and goes home with the family, you can still change your mind and decide you want to parent.
The next question is, I have a criminal background and therefore I won't be able to parent. True or false?
False. You know, we are not the state. We are not here to decide whether or not a household is suitable for a child to come into. But we most certainly can sit down, talk through a person's situation, talk to a birth father and figure out what is his plan? What do you feel is in the best interest of the child? And we can talk through the different options and the different environments and what he feels is suitable or not. We've even worked with birth fathers who are incarcerated, right? So even if you're incarcerated, that doesn't mean you don't have the ability to still parent this child. Maybe child can be placed in the care of another family member during the duration of you being incarcerated. You still have rights. You still have the ability to sit down, meet with a caseworker, and talk through how you're feeling.
Since she is the one pregnant and making an adoption plan, I'm not entitled to free counseling. True or false?
False. You know, I think, again, oftentimes the biggest misconception is because a woman is carrying the child, it's her body, it's her right, it's her decision to decide what happens to that child. That is false. The state does look at it as both the mother and the father have rights to that child, and we can most certainly sit down, talk about counseling with a birth father, just as we would with a mother.
I'm allowed to ask for a paternity test just to be sure I am the father. True or false?
True. While adoptions from the heart does not require DNA testing, we go off of the word of the biological mother, and she signs affidavits, legal affidavits describing who the potential birth father could be. That doesn't mean that a birth father cannot request to have a paternity test done. It would be at the expense of a birth father, but we can help direct you as to the services and where you can go buy a paternity test and how to send away for it. And it's really not that super encompassing. We can help guide you through that, and you can have a test done just to be sure for your own state of mind.
Another question from expecting fathers. If I know I got a woman pregnant and I think she's talking to an adoption agency, I can call that adoption agency and tell them that I want to parent. True or false?
True. Most men don't realize this, but I think that if you have any sort of sexual encounter with a woman and you feel like that encounter could result in a pregnancy, you should do your due diligence in making sure you follow up with her and any potential agency that she might be working with. Most states also have what we call a paternity registry. That's something you can file with the Office of Vital Statistics for most state departments, and you can register your name. So if you feel like you have impregnated a woman, you can put your name on that listing so that if she does try to do anything in terms of adoption planning or alternatives to parenting, you would be contacted.
Thank you for sitting down with me. I hope that going over some of the statements and some of the frequently asked statements and questions that you get as a social worker will help people just understand a little bit more about adoption. Overall, we're just encouraging you, if you have any questions, whether you're an expecting mother or expecting father, call the agency, text the agency, look up on our website, and we are happy to help in any way.